Hello YouTube, LJ Draco here. Yes, basically this is a video that kind of randomly done. Basically, in the live stream yesterday, Culture Trini asked how many 3D Blu-rays I've got, and I don't know. I said I've got maybe at least just under or just over 50 titles. So what I thought I'd do is I would do a 3D Blu-ray collection so far video, which I've done previously a few years back. That was years ago, and that's when my collection was a lot smaller. Like I was only just getting a couple of titles. So I thought I'll do that now. As you can see, my shelves have been ransacked. So yeah, let's just get into this. Right, so starting at number one, we've got Beauty and the Beast 3D. This is not the original 3D release. The original 3D release I think was the Diamond Edition in the UK anyway. This is the re-release, which has the this disc art. I still vote probably the best Disney 3D classic Blu-ray to exist. Then I've got Little Mermaid. Unfortunately, the 3D to this doesn't seem as noticeable as I was hoping. I was hoping it's going to be like Beauty and the Beast, but it really isn't. There is some scenes that look okay, but as an actual 3D movie, it's not the best it could be. Next up, we've got Tangled, another great 3D movie. Definitely better to watch in 3D than Frozen. Better movie than Frozen, in my opinion. I'm a much bigger fan of Tangled than Frozen. But the 3D is amazingly awesome. By the way, just to actually mention, I'll do this during this as well. All three of these so far are full frame 3D. So that's another reason why. Yeah, so let's do that. Now, a Letterbox 3D, Zootropolis. This one made me appreciate in-depth movies more now than I used to. Because this one I now appreciate it now. But also, there's not much pop out, but there is a lot of in-depth, which does look quite incredible. Next up is a movie I will defend to this day because I actually think it's really enjoyable. It's Cars. It's another Letterbox. But this actually has got a great amount of in-depth and pop-out. Definitely enjoyable. Definitely really, really enjoyable 3D. Next up is a 3D Blu-ray that I was completely wrong about. It's also full frame, so that makes it enjoyable. Now, the first time I watched it, I had my standard HDMI cable in, and the 3D looked very non-existent. But then after putting my high-speed cable in, and fiddling with some settings, it looked fantastic. And it is the live-action Jungle Book. So yeah, like I said, full frame. All the animation for the creatures and that in this, and not creatures, the animals, sorry, look amazing. Really believable. I actually really enjoyed this. It's probably one of the only live actions I actually enjoyed. Next up is a full frame Ant-Man. Just one of the best Marvel 3Ds to exist. There isn't that many. This is one of them. Great 3D, incredible, and a very fun movie, very enjoyable movie. A lot better 3D than Ant-Man. Avengers Assemble, also full frame, freaking amazing movie. Really, like, to see the Avengers team up for the first time properly was just incredible. Mark Ruffalo's Hulk transformation, incredible. Steve Rogers and Tony Stark's beginning of hatred was incredible. Yeah. Now, I'll also explain. Now, there's certain movies in this collection that I still regret owning or having. But my missus convinced me that if I was to get rid of the 3D, I'll just end up buying the Blu-ray back. And if I do that, then there's no point. I might as well just keep the Blu-ray, because then I'm spending double the money for the same thing I already own. So, yeah. The only one out of this pile so far is Little Mermaid, but I can't get rid of that anyway, so, yeah. Right, next up, Avengers 2 Age of Ultron. Now, they did something completely stupid with this compared to this. This was filmed full frame and done like that, so that was incredible. Now, the 3D to this is good, but it's a letterbox 3D, and it just takes the element of amazement from it. And I've been saying this for years now since I've been collecting 3D movies. In fairness, this is before I started watching any Don Star videos, but I've been recently watching all of his videos. Channel Don Star link and Culture Trinity's links will be in the description. That full frame 3D movies just look a lot more enjoyable than Letterbox. You know, you feel when you're watching a full frame, you definitely get every bit of enjoyment from that movie. And I think all 3D movies should have full frame. But yeah, this Letterbox 3D is good. The movie is very weak compared to the first one, but it's still an enjoyable film. Captain America Civil War. This is an IMAX 3D, but it's only IMAX for one scene. And I guess it's the only scene that really matters that you want to see in full frame anyway, which if you've seen the film by now, it's the airport scene. The 3D is actually really great, and I wish I could enjoy the actual movie, but the story just doesn't interest me as much as I thought it would. But, you know, it was alright. Now, this is an IMAX film done correctly. The next two are proper good IMAX 3D Marvel movies. Doctor Strange. Now, fantastic 3D. Amazing 3D. The IMAX has done extremely well. All the scenes that need to be in full frame are in full frame, and all the scenes that you don't mind really being in Letterbox is exactly that. It's perfect, down to a T. Beautiful. A really lovely movie as well. And then, yeah, the best one, Guardians of the Galaxy. Just a fantastic movie all round. Volume 2 is also amazing. Cannot wait to get that in 3D. Probably look just as great as this. Hopefully a lot better. Because when I was watching it in cinemas, it looks like it's going to be full frame. There was no IMAX in that. So I'm hoping they've just gone full frame for the whole movie. Because it'll be amazing. But this is a great movie and amazing 3D. I would say, other than Ultron and Little Mermaid, these are all worth buying, but Ultron's kind of debatable. Next up, we've got X-Men Apocalypse. Definitely the best X-Men 3D Blu-ray to exist. Days of Future Past 3D was terrible, and the movie, in my point, I cannot stand Days of Future Past. I did not enjoy that movie in one respect. This, however, was just entertaining as hell. I love the characters. Yes, I will agree, Apocalypse was really weak, and Dark Phoenix, Jean Grey should not have been in this movie, but I did enjoy the characters other than them, and I did enjoy the story, and I just enjoyed Magneto's big, to get to see that he tries and it still goes wrong, so I love that movie. Yeah, now we're getting into DC. Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice. Now, the 3D for this is amazing. Batman in this is amazing. The story, however, is extremely weak. Did not enjoy Luthor. Did not enjoy the Martha storyline. There was a lot of problems, but the 3D is actually really, really good. So if you do enjoy this movie and you do have a 3D TV, but you haven't picked it up yet because you don't know, it is definitely worth purchasing. Green Lantern 3D. Now, give it what you want. Other than the ending, I actually enjoyed this movie. Only the ending ruined the movie, but the rest of the movie was fine. Okay, the villain, the bad guy in this, it's Peter Sarsgaard. He's terrible. Yeah, I don't like him either. Not in this. No. If you're taking him out and put someone else, but I love what they did with this movie. I do enjoy what they did with this movie. Even though Ryan Reynolds hates it himself, I think it was quite good. So it's Suicide Squad 3D. Now this has the same 3D as Batman vs Superman. There are, because where it's a darker movie, there are certain scenes that just don't look as good. But from most other scenes, the 3D is pretty much the same. So next up, we've got Dredd. I've only ever seen the first 5 to 10 minutes. The 3D doesn't look that noticeable, unfortunately, and I wasn't a big fan of the movie to begin with, but maybe when I watch it fully, I might enjoy it. So, who knows, we can see. Right, so now we're getting to some 3D kids movies. How to Train Your Dragon 3D, I think this is my favourite DreamWorks movie in general. I didn't mention... Sorry, I didn't mention. Letterbox. Same goes for X-Men. Letterbox. But even though it's in Letterbox, it does have fantastic 3D. It's incredible. You do get the 3D flames, and when Toothless is flying, it's just fantastic. And obviously, eventually, How to Train Dragon 2 got it back. Love this movie. Love the 3D. Love everything about it. I wouldn't say it's a better story than the first one. Sorry. I wouldn't say it's a better movie than the first one, but it is definitely a great freaking story. Right, the next two I got, that's also Letterbox. Actually, I'm trying to let people know so you guys can understand that if you haven't got them yet, you can like know which ones you're gonna get. Alright, so next two I got, these were Samsung promotions, which I got from charity shops for like 50p each or so. First one is Monsters vs Aliens. Letterbox, one of DreamWorks' best animated movies, is one of them, and it's just also great, incredible 3D. And then this, in my opinion, has better 3D than that one. It's much more noticeable in this movie than it is in that one, and yet again, one of DreamWorks' best. Megamind 3D, just a fantastic movie. Really enjoyed it, and Will Ferrell did the voice up really, really well. Monstrosity. It's incredible. Right. Another DreamWorks, Turbo, Letterbox, Megamind's Letterbox. But basically, this 3D's okay. Certain scenes just don't look that noticeable, but when there are certain scenes that do have great 3D, they are really enjoyable. So, yet again, this is a hit and miss. You can watch that in 2D and 3D. I think 2D would be the most enjoyable, but 3D does have some kind of wow moments. Then, I will agree with Don Star about something else as well, actually. I hope he's watching this, because, yeah, because I agree with him on a lot of points. Turtles Tale, Sammy's Adventure, or Adventures, sorry. Probably the, well, in my opinion, it's not the best, like, kids animating kind of movie, but it depends on the animation. For this kind of animation, yeah, it's definitely the best 3D, along with its second one, Sammy's Great Escape. These are both fantastic 3D under the water movies. Really enjoyable. The 3D for these are incredible. These are both full frame, so you get every inch and corner of enjoyment from these. Next up is a 3D movie that I'm quite upset with. It's a full frame 3D, and you think it would be like incredible, but the only thing you get is about 20% in depth, and then that's it. It's Despicable Me. Unfortunately, it's not that noticeable. It just seems quite dull. You can only just see a little bit of in-depth, like behind, but then that's it. Definitely a much better movie just to watch in 2D. The animation is quite great. Then this ties up with the Sammy movies. I think Despicable Me's full frame. I think I mentioned that already. I'm trying to just let you know if it's full frame or letterbox during. This is a full frame animation movie. This is tied up with the Sammy movies, and it is House of Magic. Where if you live in the US, Thunder and the House of Magic. Just a weird and amazing movie. It's definitely a bit weird, but the 3D for it is fantastic. When my nieces and nephews came to visit from outside of London, the first thing they wanted to watch was a 3D movie, a kids 3D movie, and I'd suggested this. And there's a scene in this with this like robot chef throws pancakes, and I had them laughing for about 2 hours non-stop, just giggling, keep going, oh, the pancake guy, he's throwing them. And the kids were trying to run around because they were trying to dodge the pancakes. Really good, incredible. Next up is a 3D Blu-ray that was accidentally in a 2D case of my Mrs. Blu-ray of Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole, and she said that she doesn't need the 3D disc, so she gave the 3D disc to me. So, Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole. Now, unfortunately, the 3D for the whole movie doesn't exist. But the Warner Brothers logo and the owl flying around it and through the Warner Brothers logo is the most amazing 3D I've ever seen. It literally goes from having the best 3D to none at all. Don't know what happened. Don't know what happened. But literally that's true. It's honestly what happens, and it's upsetting. This is by far the best 3D Blu-ray I've ever seen in my life, and I talk about this most out of all of them. By the way, Legends of Hercules, I think, was the Letterbox, if I'm not mistaken. It might be full frame, I can't remember. Doesn't matter. Anyway, this is the best 3D movie I've ever seen. Yu-Gi-Oh! Bonds Beyond Time. I know this is one I mentioned the most on this channel, and the only reason is because it deserves the freaking credit. It deserves it so much. It is absolutely 100% enjoyable. For some reason, it's now become one of the most expensive, unheard of Blu-rays to exist. On its own, on Amazon, you're looking at about £25. From eBay, you're looking between 20 to 25, unless you get the US version, which is about £8. But I don't know if the US version has the 3D. No one's ever told me. No one's ever spoke to me about the US version. So it has become a very expensive movie, and I know you can get it in the 2-pack with the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie, but there's no guarantee you'll get the 3D option on the disc. It depends on if it's been re-released. But the 3D for this is freaking fantastic. Even if you're not a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh!, you put this in, you go in with no expectations, and you get blown away. It's just one of those movies. Next up, we got Hugo. By the way, full frame. Yet again, some of the best 3D I've ever seen in my life. And a really incredible story. I did a review on this. It's such an amazing story. And this actually made me change my mind about Sacha Baron Cohen. Yeah, he is he can act. If he stopped messing around, he could be a decent actor. Quite impressed. Next up is another full frame 3D movie, which just yet again is also really enjoyable. Journey to the Center of the Earth. I do not have Mysterious Island. I probably will get it back, even though I cannot stand The Rock. But it was a fun movie. This, on the other hand, to me, was just a better movie. They both have similar 3D, but this was a much better movie. Yeah, no, incredible. It's one of the best 3D adventure movies I've seen. Next up is a full frame 3D Blu-ray from Germany, which I've already mentioned in a video yesterday or day before. And it is Spy Kids 3D Game Over. Yeah, this surprised the crap out of me. I thought it was going to be terrible. I thought it was going to be non-existent. But when I put it in, wow. I mean, just the beginning of the movie alone was incredible. And there's something amazing about this 3D Blu-ray. As we all know, watching 3D movies can sometimes be a strain on the eyes. You wear your glasses for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. You take them off and you're like, oh, headache. This actually has moments where it tells you to take the glasses off because there's no need to wear them for 2D scenes. This gives your eyes that rest during the movie. That's amazing to me. I actually really enjoyed that. Now, this is a very cheesy, very not well acted children's movie. Children will enjoy this, whereas adults will see the problems. But in fairness, it is an actually enjoyable, cheesy ass movie, and the 3D does improve it. Now, this movie was a recommendation to me by a good friend, Omar Little. Now, there are some scenes in this movie where the 3D is unnoticed. It is a letterbox, but there are also scenes where the 3D is very noticeable, and it's a very weird 3D movie to exist. I still haven't got around to watching the whole film, and I will do it at some point. And it is a very Harold and Kumar Christmas 3D. So, yeah, I need to actually get around to watching the whole 3D movie. I watched, like, the first 10 minutes, and then I tried out another scene throughout the movie. And the 3D scene that I did try looked incredible, and then the a bit of the movie just looked a bit like bits where there wasn't actually meant to be any 3D. The 3D didn't look very existent, but you know, that's okay. If it's not supposed to look existent, then that's not a problem. It's still worth it. Next up is a newer movie that I've talked about recently that I purchased. Now, Assassin's Creed. Now, I know this movie got slammed by a ton of people, but yet, as I said in my live stream yesterday that half the critics who actually like said bad things about this hadn't watched the movie. They just slammed it because it was another video game movie and they thought it was gonna fail, but they hadn't actually seen it. So the movie itself is actually really enjoyable to me. I thought it was okay. Being an Assassin's Creed game fan, I thought this was going to be crap. But Michael Fassbender, yet again, he saved it. He made it enjoyable. And it focused more on the actual the man than the assassin. Whereas in the games, you only get little glimpses of the main guy, and then it's mostly the assassins. That's what you play the game for. Whereas because this isn't a game, this is the movie, you get to see more of the actual guy side than the animus Assassin's Creed simulation, which I think that's good. I think we get to develop with a character. But the 3D is Letterbox, and the 3D is like X-Men Apocalypse. It's okay, but it's not the best. So debatably, I would say if you're gonna watch this, 2D would be the better option. The reason Blu-ray and Blu-ray 3D exists is this full-frame space adventure Avatar. I have heard over 100 and something odd people say the reason they buy Avatar is not just because it's a good movie, but because this is the example they use to show what HD looks like. And now they have made 3D version which looks more watchable than the 2D Blu-ray version. This is what 3D exists for. Movies like this exists for our 3D setups. Oh, I've had this is one of the first 3D movies I ever picked up. It was this, Alice in Wonderland, Tron, and Toy Story 3. Yeah, there's a deal going on at HMV. So I picked them all up. So this is why 3D exists. Now, if you live in the US, this might be a little bit harder to get, but if you can get it, I recommend you do. This is another full frame beauty, and it is Doctor Who, Day of the Doctor, starring the late John Hurt. Rest in peace. I never knew that Doctor Who could actually have a great 3D kind of feature-length episode. This was fantastic. Oh, this is like the British Avatar. It's like Avatar for the UK. The 3D is incredible. The picture's incredible. Everything about it is incredible. Now this movie. This movie. 1993, the year I was born. One of the greatest movies I'd ever seen in my life growing up. Not my favourite, but definitely one of the greatest. And it's also the fact that it's just yet again a fun adventure family kind of movie. It's Jurassic Park. This will always be better than any of the other Jurassic movies, including Jurassic World, which I am a massive fanboy of. It's yet again, it's got Avatar-like 3D. It's fantastic. I put this in thinking, oh, this is going to be terrible, but this is actually incredible. It's incredible. It surprised the hell out of me, and I'm so glad to own this. Yeah, such a full frame masterwork, you know? I had to get full frame in there. I couldn't remember if I did or not. Now, this is not full frame, but nor is this Letterbox. Confusing as shit. I don't know how to explain this. It's like full screen, but it's got these little tiny black lines on top and bottom. So it's like, it's weird. It's not full frame, but it's not Letterbox either. It's so strange. It's more like full frame though. You get more of an image than you would on Letterbox, and it is Jurassic World, as I mentioned. I am a massive fanboy for this, and the 3D is just as good as Jurassic Park. Movie, not as good, but 3D definitely. And I enjoy this movie. The ending is heart-pumpingly insatiable. I screamed first time watching this movie in general, non 3D. I jumped up and went yeah, and scared the hell out of my missus. She hated me for it. Watching this in 3D, I had to like pre-warn her, so I'm probably going to do this again. So she went yeah, because it was the 3D version. Beautiful, beautiful. Both Jurassic 3D movies are definitely worth having in your collection. Man, I've really got to do, like, I think I've already done one. I'm going to say I've really got to do a top 10 3D Blu-ray, but I've already done that. Top 10 3D movies you should purchase. Right. Pacific Rim, full frame beauty of a movie. Great story, just great CGI, great action, even some great comedic moments. Charlie Hunnam is actually good in this. Idris Elba is fantastic in this. The Hong Kong brawl where Gypsy Danger picks up the fucking the cargo boat and then, like, uses it as a baseball bat against one of the kaiju. That's freaking phenomenal. And it looks even better in 3D. Next up is a Letterbox movie that's yet again surprised me and my missus. We thought this was going to be terrible. Unfortunately, my missus no longer watches 3D movies with me. I now watch them on my own. She's not really a big fan of 3D anymore, which kind of sucks. But we watched this together, and we bought this together during a time when we both enjoyed 3D. But we both thought this might actually fail. We didn't know, we hadn't seen the movie before. The first time watching the whole film was in the 3D Blu-ray, and it is R.I.P.D. The film was not as great as it could have been, but it was enjoyable. There was great moments, and the 3D actually does work really well for this movie. I love the chemistry between Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds. I think they're both hilarious together, so I enjoyed it. Right. So we got a little pile left to go. Yet again, this is another recent-ish 3D Blu-ray I picked up. I am really upset. There are some 3D moments in this movie, but I will tell you that there's not many. It doesn't look as great as people were making it out to look. To me, it just looks kind of weak. There are some in-depth scenes, but other than that, there's not much to hope for this movie, and it is Rogue One. Now, I really enjoyed the Rogue One movie. I agree that it's definitely not a needed movie. We did not need Rogue One. It wouldn't have made any difference to our life if Rogue One didn't exist. But I am glad that it was made because it did tie up the third and fourth movie perfectly. I did love every character. Fuck. Someone dropped something. Yeah, I did enjoy every character, I did enjoy the story, but I just agreed that it was not a needed one, and the 3D kind of let me down. But on Blu-ray, when you can actually stretch the image on Blu-ray, this looks just amazing, so yeah. Next up is a better version of a Star Wars 3D, and it is The Force Awakens. Now, I absolutely adore the 3D for this. Scenes that shouldn't really look that great don't, and scenes that do look amazing, like when the Millennium Falcon takes off for the first time, when Kylo Ren stops Poe Dameron's blaster at the beginning. There's so many fantastic 3D moments in this movie, and really enjoyable. They should have just done with Rogue One what they did with this. There should have been no difference. I know it's different people that made the movies, but if they had just taken the elements from this and put it into Rogue One, they both would have been fantastic movies. But yeah, definitely worth purchasing on 3D. Now, I'm going to stick up for these movies because people give these crap, and I really enjoy them. The TMNT 3D movies, Letterbox. By the way, the Star Wars movies are Letterbox. I don't know if I mentioned that. These are also Letterbox, but the best Letterbox 3D I've ever seen in my life. Now, I don't know if anyone will agree with me, but I don't like Letterbox 3D that much. I think Letterbox 3D just, it takes elements out, as I've said. This is what makes me kind of appreciate Letterbox 3D. because the 3D is so good for these movies that you don't realise it's Letterbox. And that's why and plus they're really enjoyable movies. This one more so. I actually like more of a development between the brothers. I think this is more of a convincing movie for it not to be as stupid. But this one is actually still pretty awesome. Now, this movie I'm going to show is another Letterbox 3D. And it was recommended to me by my friend Arthur. He told me that he had heard good things, that he hadn't seen much of it, and that he thinks that I should do a review on it. And it is Terminator Genisys. Now, I did a review on this. The movie wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. I've seen worse. And the 3D for it actually was quite interesting. It did add certain elements to the movie, so I will give it that. I guess if you're a 3D fan and you enjoy 3D movies, I guess you'd rather watch this in 3D than 2D, because it does add extra elements to the standard movie. Yeah, this is a movie that was bought by my missus as a birthday present years ago to me. I did a video on that as well. Now, the 3D for this is Letterbox, and the beginning scene is really great 3D. The rest is very weak in depth, but it's still an enjoyable movie. And I think the very weak in depth adds kind of an element to it as well. I'd much rather watch it in 2D than 3D, but the 3D has got its tiny moments. Transformers, Dark of the Moon. It's a great movie. These are movies I'll also back up. I love the Transformers movies. I think they're cheesy, but if you watch the original series years ago, it was cheesy, actiony fun for kids, and that's what these are: cheesy, actiony fun, and I think they stuck well to it. Now, this is a Letterbox, and it is a import, but it plays in English audio, and I know Omar Little and Channel Don't Start will back me up. Just one of the greatest Letterbox 3D movies to exist. Beowulf. Now, I stumbled upon this by accident. Now, this is before I watched Channel Donstar. We were both new to each other only recently. I've had this for a long time, and I never knew this is. And the weirdest thing is, I actually typed up on YouTube countless times, like Beowulf 3D, Skyline 3D, Super 8, just to see if they ever did 3D Blu-rays for these movies. And this never showed up. It never showed up. Every time I typed in the search bar, and I typed in Amazon one day, and it said Beowulf 3D, I said, no, it can't be right. So I thought I'd take a chance and I'll order it. It turned up, and I said, no. Put it in. Amazing. Just amazing 3D for this movie. Really enjoyable. Now, this movie is a Letterbox movie that I'm not keen on the film, but the 3D did make the film a little bit more interesting, and it is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. The movie is not as great as I thought it could have been, and like I said, I'm much of a fan of the Harry Potter films, that this didn't feel much of in that same category. This felt like a completely different movie, like from a different alternate timeline where Harry Potter was never going to exist. But I guess it was okay in some parts. The 3D made it a bit more tolerable. Now, this movie is something I stumbled upon by accident when I was looking for 3D movies. And then after looking at it for ages and then talking to Channel Donstar, so the guinea pigs are destroying their cages, Harlock. Letterbox, fantastic. Now, it's not the best, but it's definitely more of an enjoyable film on 3D than I guess it would be on 2D. But I guess you can still have fun with the 2D version because it's just, the animation is brilliant. Unfortunately, mine is only the English dubbed audio. From what I've been told by Channel Donstar and everyone who has seen this, including the Blue Corner, it's best to get the original audio 3D version because the original audio with the English subtitles makes sense. Now, this 3D movie is a hit and miss. It's also Letterbox. It has incredible 3D scenes and then goes to having like none at all. So I guess it depends on whether or not how you feel about the 3D scenes when you see them. I Frankenstein, but I really enjoy this movie. Aaron Eckhart has actually proven to be a great actor, and I appreciate his work. This is a movie that I was hoping to never purchase, but it was cheap. There was no 3D movies coming out. I thought I'd give it a shot, and turned out to have incredible Letterbox 3D, and it is The Legend of Hercules. Okay, this 3D Blu-ray I owned once before, and when I watched the 3D I felt disappointed and upset. It didn't really look noticeable, so I sold it. And then after watching Zootropolis, I tended to appreciate in-depth 3D a lot more than I did. So when I bought this movie back and I rewatched it, I actually liked the in-depth 3D side of it more than I would have enjoyed a pop-out version. And it definitely made me realise how good the 3D actually was. And it is Warcraft, my favourite movie of 2016. Which I know my friend Arthur hates. But I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was fun, incredible. And as I said, it's the same thing with Warcraft. People turned around about Warcraft and said, oh, it's not a great movie. That movie critics said that this was not a good movie. But Warcraft fans of the game turned around and said they really enjoyed this movie. So, you know, and I found it amazing. So it's okay. And that's why you guys watch my videos, is because you guys like hearing and seeing what movies I like, so we could talk about it. So if you guys don't like the movie or do like the movie, let me know why. Why you like or don't like. This was a Letterbox 3D movie that I did not expect to actually have reasonable 3D, nor did I expect it to have a good story. Which surprised me the most, more than the 3D side. It actually had a great story, and it didn't look like it did for years. And it is The Three Musketeers. So, we've got, I think that's Logan Lerman, Mila Jovovich, I don't know who Matthew McFadden is, I don't know who Ray Stevens, I know who Luke Evans is, Orlando Bloom, and Christoph Waltz. I really, really enjoyed this movie, and it's also got Mads Mikkelsen in this. The movie itself is actually really entertaining, and the 3D is reasonable. I'd say it's still a better movie to watch in 2D, because then that way you ain't got to try and like wear the dark glasses, and it's got amazing colour tone to it. So if you're going to watch it, I'd recommend not wearing dark glasses. Here is another Letterbox 3D movie, which I hoped that they would have put into full frame, because the full frame version of this movie would have been so much more enjoyable, and it is The Walk. Just an amazing movie, a touching story based on true events. You get so intertwined with the characters, you just feel the emotion, and then when you see him walk on the line, you feel like it's you, because when he looks down, it's so in-depth to the point where you could swear that you could jump through your TV or through your 3D setup and fall. Like it's, my mum suffers with vertigo and she's scared of heights, so when she watched this with me, she was screaming. Yeah, and I think it's incredible. Now here, I got this before it was released in the UK. Before it was released in the UK, I think it's a Swedish import. But it's not, oh god, no. Okay. I hope I'm correct, it's called Picture Box. Please be correct, please be correct. I don't know the name of this one, I'm pretty sure it was called Picture Box, I'm hoping so. It's where the black bars are on the sides, and it is The Wizard of Oz. Great 3D. Yet again, I didn't think the 3D could work for such for such an old movie. I mean, this movie came out in 1939. But it's such an incredible 3D movie, and the movie itself is good, but the 3D for it is just as good. Now here's the last two, and they're both on the same leagues as each other. This one was actually the biggest surprise 3D to me. Bigger surprise than any other that I've mentioned. Creature from the Black Lagoon. Yeah, I mean, for a black and white old movie, you'd think it wouldn't actually work so well, but this has better 3D than most, and this is full frame. So yeah, full frame. This it's just incredible, and for even when they go underwater, you can tell they're underwater because of the 3D. You can notice the ripples and the bubbles, and just looks fantastic. And then the last one is obviously It Came From Outer Space, which is, I think, another picture box. But the 3D is just the same as Creature from the Black Lagoon. So I think it is amazing and fantastic. Yes, so that's it. That's all of the 3D Blu-rays I own. Wow, this video is going to be long. I mean, at the moment it's currently 42 minutes. But after all the editing, it's going to be a little bit shorter. So I asked how many 3D Blu-rays I own. So let me count. And then I'll skip. Yeah, so it's amazing. Out of 220 odd titles in my collection, 56 is the number of 3D movies I've got. I said there are some disappointments. Some 3D movies that, I do regret buying because of them being a little bit weak. But, there's only about 4 or 5 out of the 56. That still leaves me at least 52 to 50 titles that I actually enjoy, which is still reasonably good. It's still a good thing. I do apologise for this video being long. I just thought I'd do this video very quickly because it was mentioned yesterday how many I had, and I thought, well, while I'm already doing the video, I might as well just show you the entire collection. So yeah, that's it. And don't forget, live stream this Saturday. So not obviously yesterday. Next Saturday. Or Friday, I should say, sorry. It's going to be filmed at a different location. It's going to be filmed at Mental Movie Man's house. And Mental Movie Man will be joining me. It'll be me and him sitting there talking about films, and then you guys joining in. It's going to be quite interesting. It's going to be quite interesting. Anyway, that is it. If you enjoyed this video and previous videos, don't forget to strike the like for future videos. And if you're new to my channel and only seen a couple of my videos, show your support. Click that subscribe button. I'd surely appreciate it. Anyway, take care, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.